Surrender by Cheap Trick, one of the most unique, quirkiest, yet coolest bands to come out of the 70s. Surrender is a well-crafted pop rock song written by the one and only Rick Nielsen. This song makes my top 5 greatest rock songs of all time, and it doesn't even have a guitar solo. How does that happen? We're going to break down what Rolling Stone magazine has deemed the ultimate 70s teen anthem. That's right, we're going to learn the guitar parts to the song Surrender by Cheap Trick. And we're going to do it as simply and as accurately as possible. Let's get into it. This song first appeared on Cheap Trick's Heaven Tonight album, released in April of 1978, I believe. And I love the album cover on this, with the 2 pretty boys on the front and the 2 guys with pretty personalities on the back. This is a great example of work with what you got. I love Rick and all his quirkiness with his bow ties and his cycling caps and his sweaters and all of his crazy guitars, like his 5-necked hammers. And very few people know this, but Rick used to be, when he was a young lad, he was a guitar. He was a wooden guitar. And his father, Geppetto Nielsen, always wanted a real-life boy. But by proving to be brave, truthful, and unselfish, Rick turned into a real-life rock star. And then there's Bun E who looks like he just showed up to the gig from his day job as a disgruntled accountant who's a gambling bookie on the side. And the song itself has its fair share of quirks. In the first verse, a private's private parts fall off. Ew. And any song that has reference to Kiss albums is all right by me. And another quirky thing about the song is that it doesn't rhyme. Well, sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But there's no rhyme or reason to it not rhyming. And yet it sounds perfectly natural, very conversational. And then there's the key changes. The first one occurring within the first 8 measures of the song. And yet it sounds perfectly natural. So naturally, that's a perfect place to start, with the intro. And the intro just goes like this. Well, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It has 2 chords. The first one is a slash chord. It's a major triad with a note outside of the chord as the bass note. So first, here's the triad. It's just the first fret on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. And that makes an A flat triad. Just imagine playing an A chord. We do an A like this, right? Open position A. Have you played this chord before? You probably have. Well, now just take those 3 strings that your fingers are on and move them down 1 fret. That's A flat. You can take this shape and move it anywhere, and you're playing some sort of major triad. The root of this shape is on the 3rd string, so whatever note that is, that's the name of the chord. So if you're here on the 7th fret, that note is D. You're playing a D triad. C triad. B flat triad. A triad, A flat triad. Now we're going to take those 3 strings, cover them with our first finger, and additionally cover the 5th string on the 1st fret also. This note B flat. So we're covering 4 strings. So I'm holding down the 1st fret on the 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. We have the note B flat with an A flat triad, making this an A flat slash B flat chord. It's an A flat chord, A flat major triad, over a B flat, or A flat triad with B flat in the bass. You can think of it that way. It's very dissonant, but that's the tension, and then we release to this chord, just a regular old B flat. So now, this B flat bass is the actual root of this chord. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that takes us into the verse, and at this point, here's our first key change. From this B flat chord, we're going to go up 1 fret to this chord B. This is our new key. We're going to be in the key of B, and in the verse we're going to use the 1, the 4, and the 5 chord. Those are just chords built off the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th notes of a B major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th note is E. The 5th note is F sharp. B major is our 1 chord. E major is our 4 chord. And then F sharp major is going to be our 5 chord. Now, Rick Nielsen on his Instagram page, he goes through the chords and he goes through them fairly quickly. He fingers them like this. He'll do the B like this with his pinky. And then he'll do E, he'll do like an E, but this, instead of doing a bar chord like this, he does this shape. He uses thumb to play the root on the 2nd fret of the 6th string. And then he's grabbing a triad with these 3 strings, playing the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. In this case, the frets are 4, 3, and 2. So that's how he does this. And it's a nice alternative, because if you do this for too long, your hand gets really tired. That's a nice alternative way to do it. Now, I don't have very big hands, but my thumb, I can get it over the top. So I don't want to hear any excuses. So the first part of the verse goes 1, 5, 4, 1. 1, 5, 4, 1. That's the progression. And then he starts it all over again with a 1 chord. Now, one thing I noticed, when he switches from chord to chord, 2 and 3 and 4 and, he'll play open strings on the and of 4 right before he hits that transition. So we're playing open strings as sort of a pickup note while we're changing chords. Now the second half of the verse, same chords, but we're going to switch the order. Now we're going to start on the 4 chord. We're going to go 4, 5, 1, but then do twice as long on the 1. So it's really 4, 5, 1, 1. And that's the verse. That takes us right into the chorus. The chorus uses, it's basically 4 chords. It's a 1, 6, 5, 4 progression. Starts on this B chord. I'm going to play that using this bar chord shape. Then we're going to still cover these 3 strings. But now we're going to put this note A flat, 4th fret of the 6th string, as our root. The root of this chord is on the 6th string, so whatever note that is, that's going to be the name of this chord. If I play it on the 7th fret, that note is B. There's a B minor 7, C minor 7, D minor 7. But we're playing it here on the 4th fret, making it an A flat minor 7. Well, I guess if we're in the key of B, technically it would be a G sharp minor 7. After that second chord, now we're still going to hold these notes down, but just change the root note to this F sharp. This is another slash chord. It's a B chord slash F sharp. It's a B chord with F sharp in the bass. And then the last chord of the chorus is the 4 chord. In this case, it's E major. So here's the whole chorus. Mommy's alright, Daddy's alright, it just seemed a little weak. Surrender, surrender, but don't give, surrender, surrender, but don't give yourself away. Hey. Now at the end of the chorus, hey, hey, hey. They hold out this E chord for a long time. On the record, the studio album, it sounds like he plays this sort of a riff, where he's doing like this boogie woogie thing, but then kind of accenting this E on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. Now this is a little detail. You could play it like that if you want, or I think Rick plays it more like this live, where he's like, hey, hey, hey. I think he does it more like that live, where he's just holding out the chord. But again, do it however you want to do. This is rock and roll. Surrender, surrender, but don't give yourself away. Hey, hey. That leads us right back into the intro riff. Oops, but this time we're going to play it on the 2nd fret. With the resolution on the B chord. Now we stay in the same key. Oh, and I should mention, there's also that keyboard part that goes on. Those are the notes. It's just a 5 root and a 5 of the B chord. So it's like a F sharp, B, and an F sharp. So if you don't have a keyboard player, but you have a second guitar player, you can always play that on guitar. So that's basically what the keyboard part is doing. Then when it goes up to C, it goes up to there. But anyway, after the 2nd verse, we do this intro riff again. We do that twice, and then do another key change. Now we're just going up another half step to the key of C. Now on the record, in the 3rd verse, he does more of this boogie woogie riff. Now to do it off of power chords, it could be kind of a stretch. What I'm doing here is covering, starting on the 5th string, I'm going 3 and 5, playing that power chord. Then on the 4th string, I'm reaching my pinky up to grab this 7th fret. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... So that's kind of the riff that's going on. Now, a little cheat that I do sometimes, because this could be a little taxing on the hand and wrist after a while. Instead of leaving this root here, what I'll do is take this C and move it up an octave here. Now I'm just going to cover the 5th fret of the 4th string and the 3rd string with this one finger. Then I'm going to grab this other note with my 3rd finger. So instead of the C root being the lowest note, I'm putting it up an octave. And especially if you're in a band situation with a bass player, the bass is holding down the root, and you're still playing 2 notes and filling the space up, it works out just great. Now in the 3rd verse, when they go to this part, it sounds to me like that's when they don't do They don't do this anymore. Although sometimes when I hear it, I hear them doing it on the F chord, but then not on the G. It's rock and roll. Do it how you want to do it. So after the verse in C, they do a chorus in C. Now by this part of the song, my hand's getting tired. I might not want to do bar chords anymore. Fortunately, we're in the key of C. And these open chords work out great. C, just lift your third finger. You have C, you have A minor 7. Hold that shape. We can grab this G on the 3rd fret. Just when you do that, make sure you mute the 5th string. And then you got your F here. Which you could do the Rick Nielsen way with the triad and the thumb. Or you could do it as a bar chord. Or just do it like that. Mine is alright, that is alright. They just seem a little weird. Surrender, surrender. Don't give yourself away. Hey, hey. Now at this point, we'd usually go back into a there. But since we're not going to go into another verse and there's no more key changes, what they do is they throw in this little bridge section. C, F, back to C, and then G. So it's a 1, 4, 1, 5. They throw in that little bridge and then they're back to the regular chorus progression. Mommy's alright, daddy's alright. They just seem a little weird. And they just repeat this around for many, many times. I don't know how many times. Finally, they're realizing that, you know what? We're all alright. We're all alright. We're all alright. We're all alright. And then on the album, they just fade out. But on the live version, what do? The ending on the live version, they play these chords. A C chord to a B flat, back to a C. And the rhythm they're playing it in is quarter note triplets, where they're putting 3 notes in the space of 2, basically. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Bop, 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 bop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then they do an F chord to a B flat chord to a B flat / C chord. And they end on that unresolved dissonant chord, which is kind of cool. So that's the song in a nutshell. Now I put together a backing track. Actually, I got 3 different versions of this. I have it with full instrumentation. Then I have it with just rhythm guitars, no distorted guitars. I just have cleanish guitar doing the rhythm. And then I have a version with no guitars at all. So if you want the full version and just kind of solo on top of it, it's kind of fun. In any key that you're in, if you want to do that, if they're in the key of B, the notes that work great are just notes of a B major scale. B major pentatonic works great over that also. And then when it goes up to C, you just play in the key of C. So the link to those backing tracks are in the description. If you have any questions, please leave those down in the comments. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please do me a huge favor. Hit that like button, share this video with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit that notification bell. But most of all, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We'll see you next time.